Good afternoon, everybody. Let us pray. Father, thank you for this beautiful day. As we gather here as Rotarians, help us to remember that you gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and your word tells us to listen and be quiet. Help us to be mindful, to pay attention to the needs of those in our community. Help us to be your servants to those in our path that need an extra hand, who need a kind word of encouragement, who need to see hope in the face of others. Father, we pray for our leaders, those who lead our cities, those who lead the states, those who lead our nation, and the other nations of the world. Help them to turn to you and to rely on your leadership, guidance, and direction in all they say and in all they do. May we be a world that turns back to you. On International Women's Day today, we pause to remember the great female figures of the past. We pray for all those female leaders who are coming forward in present times. And we pray in advance for all the powerful women leaders we will help cultivate for our future. May each of us take time to speak truth, lavish encouragement, and love unconditionally the women in our circles of influence. Gracious God, we pray for this food we have received today. May it nourish our bodies. Please bless the hands that prepared it. Jesus, please continue to bless us so that in turn we may be a blessing to others. For it's in your powerful and merciful name we pray all these things. Amen.
Thank you, Kim. That was great as well. All right. With our visiting Rotarians and guests, we've got Jesse Bullard. Where is Jesse? Here he comes.
Hey friends, I'm Jesse Bullard here to introduce a few. We have a few visiting Rotarians. Phil Brummett from Fairfax, Virginia. Phil, welcome in. And we have Beaver Hardy from Columbia East. Beaver Glad to have you. Does anyone have any guests to introduce?
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I'm Susan Elkins, and I'm delighted to have as my guest Mark Moselle, the Vice President for First Citizens Bank, and he's also the past president of the Sumter Sunrise Rotary Club. So he's here for his second visit. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you. I'm Jim Morris, and I have as my guest Dalton Fulcher. He is a senior, at USC, and he's an honors college student and has joined us for this. So thank you.
I'm Rusty DePass, and I'm pleased to have again as my guest Tom Gottschall, who is a retired attorney. He used to be with Haynesworth Simpler Boyd, and is in fact a former member of this club.
Any others? All right, welcome guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. With health and happiness, we've got Richard Pollard. Richard?
Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We'd first off like to congratulate William Starrett on a fabulous performance this weekend, and he also has another performance this week. The Body Movement Explored, going to be on March 11th at 7 p.m. and also March 12th and 13th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are, I believe, $30 Right, Will? $30. And then also, after the performance, you'll be able to talk to the performers and ask them questions about what's going on with the ballet. Great opportunity. Hannah Stevenson, Hal Stevens' daughter, is in labor right now at Prisma Health, I believe. So keep their family in your prayers, that everything goes well with that delivery. Christy Edison, her son Jordan got engaged this week, so that is amazing, as we all know that are married. Rotarians have donated $9.2 million as of the date for Alzheimer's research. Last year, we made our biggest, largest donation of $1 million, and our goal is to exceed that. Remember your blue buckets on the table, and you can also make a check out to the CART fund. As following up with most people that do health and happiness, I am not funny whatsoever, so I am going to do my best to entertain you guys. So I am a millennial, so I feel I am able to make fun of us, and I believe y'all will appreciate these. So I got this off of the AARP article and thought they were pretty hilarious. So millennials were born from the early 1980s to the early 2000s. Now I believe I get cheated out of that because I was born in 1986. And I grew up without a cell phone, and I grew up playing outside. I was told I could not come into the house until the lights come on, or else I would get in trouble. And I did not want to get in trouble. That's when parents still spanked. I don't believe they spank kids anymore today. But believe it or not, millennials outnumber you boomers. What changes will history's largest generation wreck upon society? Well, according to this survey, number one that you can say goodbye to, driving a car. Once was a teen counted the days until he or she could get behind the wheel, but the percentage of young adults with a driver's license today has plunged. Millennials drive about a quarter less than their counterparts did 8 years ago. Using a landline. They cut the cord, believe it or not, and I'm sure most of y'all have as well. 41% of millennials aren't hooked up to a landline phone. There is a great YouTube and social media video going out of parents having their teen sons try to make a phone call with a rotary phone, and it is the funniest thing I have ever seen. Eating a drumstick. I thought this was interesting. I actually have quite a few friends that do not like meat on bones. So Kentucky Fried Chicken fears that the Generation McNugget doesn't understand old school chicken with bones. The fix, boneless chicken wings, which I have a huge argument with that. It's just chicken fingers. Like, it's not chicken wings. So quit calling boneless chicken wings. They're just chicken nuggets. Buying a house, and this hits home for me because I sell real estate. Forget the ownership society. Only 18% of men and women ages 18 to 34 say owning their own home is one of the most important things to achieve in their life. Getting hitched, besides Christy's son, only 21% of current 20-somethings are married. By comparison, nearly half of boomers had exchanged I-dos before they left their 20s. Unfortunately, a lot of them got divorced too. Keeping your salary a secret. I don't know how many of you talk to millennials, but secrets cannot keep a secret. Curious about what your young coworker makes? Just ask them. The Wall Street Journal says millennials ignore this office taboo. Saving the planet, the tree huggers, the young green-minded gang seen here may be a rare breed. Surprisingly, 3 times more millennials than boomers at the same age said they didn't make any personal effort to help the environment. Getting dressed up for work. This is one of my favorites. When you're under 30, every day is casual Friday. A recent study found that 8 out of 10 young adults want to be able to wear jeans to work. As I got my real estate license in Florida, I was 24 years old, and the average real estate agent was over 60 years old in my area, so I wanted to be a change of all the Hawaiian shirts that all the realtors wore down there, so I wore a suit and tie in 100-degree heat. And as you know, the heat and humidity are two different things. And with my bald head not having any hair to sop up all the sweat, it was a sight, guys. It was a sight. Buying pricey clothes. So they want to wear jeans. However, those jeans are most likely more expensive than the suit that I wear. I don't know if y'all seen the price tags of these jeans. They're not the Wranglers and Levi's price tags. They are quite expensive. The best one is making a sandwich. The last person to make a 20-something a sandwich was likely his or her own mother. A consumer report found that millennials are driving the growth of the fast food sub industry. I'm sure you guys have seen subs everywhere. They're even making pizza subs, and you even got Mexican restaurants like Chipotle and Moe's that are making sub-size things. Dining out. The go-to date night of sitting in a restaurant for dinner could be history. A 2012 survey found that millennials dining out has declined by 20% in the past 5 years. And hitting back on valuing privacy. I don't know how many of you are on Facebook, Instagram. There is no such thing as privacy anymore for this generation. Give millennials a discount and they'll apparently tell you anything you want. People ages 18 to 35 said they'll freely share personal information online if it meant they would save money. And so making fun of millennials is an easy thing to do. However, as a millennial, with the divorce rate up so high, a lot of these millennials are raised by single-parent households, and that is a big struggle that a lot of these kids, including myself, have faced. So as Rotarians, I feel we are called to be leaders, and I have a couple of quotes here from leaders, and these are quotes to ask yourself, is this you? Number one is, leaders are made, they are not born. They are made by hard effort, which is in the price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. Leaders must be close enough to relate to others, but far enough ahead to motivate them. Leaders are people who do the right thing. Managers are people who do things right. The best leaders are readers of people. They have the intuitive ability to understand others by discerning how they feel and recognizing what they sense. Leaders know the importance of having someone in their lives who will unfailingly and fearlessly tell them the truth. Good leaders make people feel that they're at the very heart of things, not at the, I have no idea how to pronounce that word, periphery. Great leaders are willing to sacrifice the numbers to save the people. Poor leaders sacrifice the people to save the numbers. Leaders lead, but in the end, it's the people who deliver. Good leaders must first become good servants. Leaders must wake people, they must get people excited about something they've never seen before, something that does not yet exist. Leaders understand the ultimate power of relationships. There are a lot of people who call themselves teachers or leaders, but they're really just propagandists. Real leaders is leaders recognizing that they serve the people that they lead. Throughout history, great leaders have known the power of humor. Leaders establish the vision for the future and set the strategy for getting there. Good leaders need positive agenda, not just an agenda of dealing with crisis. Leaders need to be optimists. Their vision is beyond the present. So, question for y'all, leaders for millennials, do you recognize yourself? Can you call yourself a true leader after hearing all of these quotes? Regardless of your answer, here's a wonderful saying from Abraham Lincoln to finish this with you. Whatever you are, be a good one. You guys have a great day.
you, Richard. Appreciate that. Just to put everything in perspective, I'm 51, born in 69, which makes me Gen X. I don't think I ever look like Gen X, but I am. And I remember having to get out of the chair to go change the channel on the TV, and how delighted we were to have a children's line put into the house. So we had our own phone, and my parents appreciated that too. So, and my mom brought us all in with a cowbell at the end of the night. She would literally get on the front porch and ring it for us, and that meant come in. So that was to put all that in perspective. All right, Carrie Powers, past president Carrie Powers, has something she'd like to say, but while she's coming to say that, I want everybody to raise the number of hands of the number of shots, vaccines that you've had. Raise them up. We're seeing a lot more. Wow, that's almost a majority of the hands in the room. Fantastic. Since I'm only 51, I don't qualify until next month. So. Past President Carrie.
So first, Mason, I want to apologize to you because when I was president, I hated it when people did this to me. However, since I was president, I'm going to do this. I want to recognize two people who didn't get included in our health and happiness because the Irmo Chamber had our gala on Friday night that we handed out our awards for 2020 and the 2021 awards. So Cynthia Giles was named Diplomat of the Year. Yes, you guys, I can never operate my chamber without her. She is amazing, and that's well deserved. And then Kim Mitchell was she received our Order of the Okra for her work in the Irmo community. So congratulations to both of y'all. Well deserved.
Thank you. The Order of the Okra, that is perfect. I love that. And y'all, this club would not be able to function without Cynthia Jones as well, too. So she does a lot of work for this club. Okay, don't forget your cart buckets, as was mentioned earlier by Richard. Appreciate that. Club announcements. When you're finished eating, please wear your mask. We do have a mask ordinance still in effect here in Columbia and Richland County for the time being, and we want everybody to feel comfortable whether they're vaccinated or not. So please put on your mask when you're finished. Membership, of course, is essential to the club. We want everybody to invite prospective members and prospective people to join the club, of course, to come to the Discover Rotary meetings that we have on the first Monday of most every month, but not in April. In April, we're going to have ours on April 12th, which will be the second Monday because of we're not meeting on the Monday after Easter. But please bring some members to come, prospective members, to the Discover Rotary meeting on Monday, April 12th. You all have received your quarterly invoices. Please pay them and get brought up to date. As a reminder, the cost of meals and dues are going up next quarter, as I mentioned last week. If you have any questions about that, feel free to come talk to me or a board member about that. We do have a couple of minutes before our speaker, so I want everybody to take 2 minutes, which will be 30 seconds per person at the table. Introduce yourself to your table mates. 30 seconds per person. Go.
How are you, Mike? How's life been? We're 6 feet apart. We don't even have to wear masks. How are you doing? I just signed up today because I qualify as a high risk, and they opened that up today, so I'm like... I'm sorry? I went to Lexington Medical Center. I signed up, and then I also signed up through Walmart. Yeah. I'm hoping, though. It all has to go through the CDC, so that's what takes the longest.
Monday and Tuesday, we got it. But they're just opening it up.
Yeah. If they approve me, then that means my husband can go, because spouses that live with someone, so I'm like, yeah, if they approve me, then my household is good to go.
Father-in-law who's getting up there, he's got it. And in town, she's 89, she had it, so it's good that they can come and travel.
Yeah. I'm excited though, as soon as I get it, I'm booking a cruise. I'm going on vacation this year. They're still super cheap, so you might as well book it.
Well, one of our clients, so far on a cruise, and they're just, they've been sitting in dry dock for the last year.
Yeah. Their stock is outrageous right now though. If you're following that, it is something about the stimulus being released and then the vaccine increase. And the third vaccine rollout, it just blew up.
Norwegian
Yeah. It just blew up. Disneyland saw an increase in stock too, though.
Yeah, I can do without Disneyland.
I know. My in-laws are all about it. They go every year, and they're really upset Jeff and I won't have kids to take with them. And I'm like, I'm not having kids just so you can take them with you to Disneyland once a year.
Mine, I've done it 3 times.
I'm really interested to hear about the industrial park today. I'm sorry? Really?
36 years.
All right, I hope you all know your table mates a little bit better now. I know we don't get a chance to chat with each other, but I do want to encourage you, as I do often, please sit with new, other people that you haven't sat with in a while. From time to time, I will give you all a couple of minutes to talk to each other if you want to talk to new people. We have a large club. I mean, we're starting to get a lot more back here in attendance as those arms get raised and get shots in them. So do sit with some new folks and get to know the members of our club and our visiting guests as well. All right, without further ado, we're going to have the introduction of our speaker, and Steve Bryant's going to give the introduction. Steve?
It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Chuck Salley. Chuck is the Vice President and Director of the Industrial Brokerage Group for Colliers in Columbia. He joined Colliers after graduating from the University of South Carolina and has been with them his entire career. During that time, he has completed over 1,000 transactions and has become an expert in the industrial market. He has experience in all aspects of industrial brokerage, including leasing, sales, site acquisition, build-to-suit, investment sales, and consulting. Chuck is inspired by the drive of his clients and customers to grow their business, create jobs, and invest in our community. He enjoys the thrill of taking on the challenge to find real estate solutions for them to help their progress in their business goals. He is a life member of the Central Carolina Realtors Association Circle of Excellence. He received the CCRA Commercial Transaction of the Year Award in 1997, 2002, and 2013. He was named the overall top producing agent in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014 by the CCRA. In 2017, he was named a co-star power broker in the industrial leasing transactions in Columbia. He has received numerous recognitions from Colliers, South Carolina, and is a 7-time recipient of the Colliers South Carolina Production Award. When beginning his career, Chuck chose industrial brokerage as a specialty because he saw a void in the central South Carolina industrial market. And he knew that he could develop not only the Colliers industrial sector, but also work to develop Columbia's industrial market into the thriving economy that it is today. Let me add, I have a son and daughter in commercial real estate in Columbia. When my daughter Paige graduated from the University of South Carolina, she joined Colliers. Chuck was very generous with his time and sharing his knowledge and always made himself available to answer her constant barrage of questions. He truly cares about the success of those around him. He is, as I like to tell people, a really good guy. And his success is no accident. Chuck, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks a lot, Steve. That awesome. You made me sound like Rusty the Pass. And we do miss Paige a lot. She was a wonderful addition, and I know she's going to do very well at whatever she decides to do. So Cynthia and I are going to put this together. Cynthia and I worked on this for 30 seconds before the program started, so I think we got it down. And I do on the millennial team. I do lead a team of 2 millennials and a Generation Xer, so I'm hopefully that they think I'm a leader, but we'll see. I was almost ready, but you know, I saw that Hugh Weathers was here last time and he told a joke, so I felt like, you know, I can't let Hugh outdo me. So I don't know if any of you guys have a Alexa in your house, but I said, Alexa, tell me a joke. And this is what she said. She said, okay, why did the dung beetle miss the party? I said, I don't know. She said, because he was on duty. I felt like if Alexa could say it, I could say it. So if you have Alexa in your life, you should ask her to tell you a joke. It's pretty interesting. So Cynthia and I are getting ready to hit this program, and this is the video that we did for 803 Industrial Park, which is the new industrial park we're kicking off right at the airport. And what we were trying to do with this is to tell a story of not only just the park, but the whole region and why, you know, it makes sense to locate a business in Columbia. And so we hope that we were successful in that, because this goes all over the world. It's seen by people in every country in the world that are looking for industrial real estate. And Cynthia, let's go. So the idea and the theme of 803 Industrial Park is basically trains, planes, ships, and boats. And you know, the idea that, you know, we're 110 miles from the Port of Charleston. You know, we're bisected by 3 interstates. We're right next door to a UPS hub that can, you know, ship all over the country overnight. And we're within a day's drive of 66% of the population. It's kind of interesting because all of a sudden we're getting a lot of interest in Columbia, not just for this park, but just because people are starting to realize that Columbia does have a lot of things that are very, very useful, whether you're in manufacturing or distribution. And you know, manufacturing is what drives the state of South Carolina, and is what drives the industrial market in Columbia. We're not in Atlanta. We don't have millions and millions of square feet of retail space that's just distributing stuff. What we have is people that make things. And so the industrial market here is about, you know, people that make things and people that supply to those people that make things, and then how that works out. And for instance, one of the bigger users of the UPS hub here, the air hub and the ground hub, is Husqvarna. Husqvarna has a 2,000 employee plant in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and they have a part. So they're making all kind of lawnmowers, riding lawnmowers, every kind of lawnmower that you can imagine, and they've been doing it for decades. And so they run out, and so they also make all the parts to those. So if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, and your lawnmower breaks down and you want to get a new blade for it, well, it comes from Columbia, and they ship it up via UPS, and it flies right up there, and bam, you got it. So they have about 300,000 square feet in Columbia just dedicated to their parts and accessories that they send out. But that's not about, it's because they're here, it's because they're making those things that we have that product here. The other thing that this is really important to do is the way we market property now. When Rusty and I first got into business, the best thing you could do is put a sign on a piece of property, and the more interstate visibility or the more traffic that sign had, the better off you were. And the more signs you could get out, you were good. Well, now, signs are, they're just to tell you that you arrived at the building when you get there. That's the only reason you need to have a sign, because this is the sign. We use the internet to market now, and so what we do on a significant listing like this is we build a website. And this is what you're looking at. This was not recorded. This is basically online. So we didn't bring it or anything else. This is the website that we use to market the property. What you're on now is the overview, I think, of the property. But the other thing that we try to do is make it useful for site selectors. If you're looking, in the market, you want to be able to say, well, what's near there? If I'm in the automotive manufacturing business or supplier, what do I look at? And so when you go to the map, if you can go to that map, Cynthia, you start off with this is not a PDF or a static map. This is a live interactive map. And so you start off and you've got the location of 803 Industrial Park there. And then you've got a little icon, you go up to the layers, and it has a drop-down list. And so if you wanted to see what the automotive manufacturers or suppliers were, you click on that list, and they populate the map. So you can see that we've got the yellow dots and all that. Then you hover over that, it tells you, the company, the contact information of the company, and everything else, what they do. And you can go out further. Well, what if we wanted to look at, the whole state? How does that look? And so it layers it in like that so that you can see from where we are to, where other manufacturing businesses or suppliers might be on that map. And, that's a very useful tool, and it's something that, our marketing and research people have put together that, I tell everybody all the time, I said our marketing research people make us brokers look great, but they're the real stars of the program, because they just, I work with them constantly, and what they want to do as much as they can, and I encourage them to do it. And so they love doing this kind of stuff, and it's really useful, practical stuff for, when we're showing the property. Let's drill in a little bit now that we're there into the actual site itself, Cynthia. Can you scroll up a little bit so that we can see I think there's an aerial below there.
This is
Nope.
the top of it.
This is the, this is basically shots from the screen that we have, and it goes fast, but you can see that one is a shot of the Port of Charleston and all the routes that come into in the Port of Charleston where they go from. The other is the CSX multimodal train, so it shows you where the train connects to this site from every port in the southeast. And then the other is the interstate connectivity, and it shows, again, where the direct access from interstate comes from. And I'm not even sure I can see that fourth one over there, but it's UPS. Yeah, that's the UPS hub, and that shows their overnight routes that they have all over the country. And then I think if we go to the building, we'll get in there. And so this is the first building. It's going to be a 200,000 square foot, 32-foot clear, back rear load building, which we found is they have the parking's in the front and all the truck traffic's in the back, so it's very practical for distribution or manufacturing. And so you'll see Magnus Development, who we have been working for. We've done 7 buildings as their leasing agent, they've all been very successful, and this is the format that they've used. And they are the biggest spec developer in Columbia, South Carolina, at this moment, and they do a fantastic job, and really are competitive deal making, small development company that's we're lucky to have here in Columbia, because they really have created a lot of jobs and a lot of investment here. Can you get to the site map, Cynthia? I think there's a location map. I think you might have to go.
The site plan?
Yeah. Where it goes, site plan?
There's this map right here that shows the site.
Let me just take a quick look. Yeah. So try the, go to the park overview first. And then scroll up from there, is that? Yeah, that's what I want right there. So, obviously this is, you can see the CA Airport, which is another super asset that we have here in the Midlands from the standpoint of, everybody complains about, well, you have to go to Atlanta or you have to go to Charlotte. It's easier to fly one way out of Charlotte, but if you're a package, you don't care, right? If you're a package, you're not worried about whether you have a direct flight out of Atlanta or Charlotte. You're just going. So UPS it loves it. I mean, they have an airport they can get in and out of. It's easy. It's quick. And so it's a huge asset that we have here in Columbia, because, being able to overnight, as you know, right now with the e-commerce and everything that's going on, being able to have something fast is what you got to have. And so we're very blessed that we not only have a ground hub, but also an air hub here in Columbia. And it's all because of the CA Airport. So the site plan, you can see, the air hub is right there, right above it there. And then we've got about 1 million square feet planned on the facility. We're going to realign the road here. It's actually going to realign with the airport road and come in the part that way. And that'll create a stoplight for that location. And this is actually part of that. You may have heard the connector that was going to connect into I-20 or I-26. Don't think that's going to happen just because of the cost of that, but we're going to use that first part of it to connect into it and make it align with a stoplight in front of the airport entranceway. So the 204-120 will be the first building. That will be delivered January 1, if not in December. and we've got significant interest on about half of that building right now. Then probably the next one after that is going to be the 408 240. One thing about Columbia is that, we don't have a 400,000 square foot spec building in Columbia. We never have had one. It's not been considered a good market for spec development because of a lack of tenant velocity. But yeah, Greenville and Charleston have managed to have developers that attract enough money to get it there. And since it hadn't been done for such a long time, it's hard to get financed. And so that's where everybody has the problem. But I have promised every developer that's visited Columbia in the last 6 months, and that's been a lot of them, that a 400,000 square foot spec building will be very successful. And that I will guarantee them that I will get at least to pro forma. Because you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the economy of scale. So if a 200,000 square foot tenant comes along, you can beat the guy that has a 200,000 square foot warehouse because your costs are going to be less. So you can make it into two of those. But if you look at where the market's going, it's going big. I mean, every 400,000 square foot building ends up getting expanded into 600,000. We just sold a building to Generac in Edgefield. And, the reason they bought it was because it could be expanded to 1 million square feet. So, that's where the market's going. It's going into bigger buildings. And I think we'll leave a little bit of time for questions, if there are any, and I'll let Cynthia.
Thank you for being here today. What kind of tenants are you looking for in this building?
The ones that can pay rent. No, that's a great question. I'm sorry about that. That was a softball. I had to hit it. But our expectation is that it'll be either distribution or manufacturing based, and probably manufacturing based, even though it may be a distribution component of it. As I mentioned, right now about 35% of the overall industrial market in the whole state of South Carolina is dedicated solely to manufacturing, right? So that leaves you 65%. But well over half of the 65% of the rest of the market is somehow serving that manufacturing function. So I would say 70% of the market in South Carolina, the whole state right now, is really there because of manufacturing. And that's why when all the manufacturing was going offshore and leaving the United States, why South Carolina's industrial market suffered very, very badly. And so as this reshoring has started and manufacturing has come back, we've been the beneficiary of that. And South Carolina is a star of all the 50 states as far as manufacturing is concerned. We're well known throughout the world as a great place to come and make things, and we get a lot of companies here for that. Got one in the back.
I'll yell since I don't have a microphone. I mentioned that Columbia in the middle and Greenville and Charleston have really been where a lot of the growth in the state has come from. So you're seeing a resurgence in Columbia, and what do you think the outlook for growth in the Columbia area is for industrials?
Yes, great question. We are seeing that. Probably I've been in industrial real estate for 40 years, and it started when there wasn't a lot here at all, and it's kind of grown, but it's always been kind of a sleepy industrial market in central South Carolina. That's why I was there, because everybody else was selling apartments and stuff like that, and I was a new kid on the block, and I said, well, nobody does doing industrial, I guess I'll try that. And I had it all to myself for a long time, but now it's become very popular, and a lot of people want to get into it. But And then Columbia, it was all of a sudden became the red-headed stepchild because it didn't have a port, which is what made Charleston's market take off. When people started realizing that they were going to widen the Panama Canal, let the big post-Panama ships start coming through, and they look at LA, and if you look at LA today, right now, if you have a ship there, they have 12 big boats with containers on them, thousands and thousands of containers on them, anchored offshore, because they can't get into the port because it's not enough places for them to go. So 2 weeks they're waiting out there. They could be all the way through the Panama Canal, all the way into the port of Charleston, and all the way back to California before they can get into the LA port. So it's definitely a big thing. So Charleston has taken off because of that. It's also, as we all know, the best place to live in the world. And so a lot of companies that, they say, well, I'll go down to the south, but I want to go to Charleston, And so it's really helped them a lot because, people enjoy going there. And like Yogi Berra says, nobody goes to Charleston anymore. It's too crowded. And I think that's true. But, and then Greenville had, a really huge industrial base, textile base that they've always done for. And, they're business located. And so they're so business oriented, they just embraced it and have been embracing it and have done a great job recruiting a lot of foreign investment there. And Columbia has been, we're the capital. We're all about offices and stuff like that. We don't have much industrial, and so that's where our issues have been here, been recruiting industrial, and that's why we're hoping that bringing this kind of information to the attention of a lot of people will help us continue to grow.
Hey Chuck, can you speak to the tax rates and how that affects what you can do in Columbia and Western County?
Yes, I can. So, as Bernie likes to say, the manufacturing tax rate in South Carolina is the highest in the country. So,
it's not amongst the highest, it's the highest.
There you go. I knew it was going to be here. So it's the highest tax rate in the country. Okay? So nobody really thinks about South Carolina as being, a high taxing state until, you develop a $50 million manufacturing plant here and realize what your taxes would be if you had to do that. And so that's why people like Bernie make a really, really good living, with economic incentives and teaching them how to get fee in lieu of taxes and other things like that, which lowers the playing field. So, that's the key. So everybody knows you got a appraised value times an assessment rate times a millage rate, right? And then that equals your taxes. Well, the millage rate is based on, 60% of that basically is school taxes, bonds. So, the areas, whether you're in Richland County or Lexington County, if you're building a bunch of schools and you have a big old number on your millage rate because of that, is that millage rate really hurts. As long as you can really be knowledgeable and kind of work around it, you can really do a lot of things for a manufacturing company not to be penalized by that. And so that's what we do all the time. That's why I'm in either Bernie or Touchard's office talking about how we can figure something out. That's the big part of our business.
Chuck, is there a lot of competition what this project brings to the table in South Carolina? Are there other industrial parks that are brand spanking new like this that you're competing with?
Yeah. The thing about Columbia right now is that we have 0 space like that available today if you wanted to move into it. The next delivery is going to be this summer. It's a 200,000 square foot building that Magnus is developing in the Lexington County Industrial Park. And it's already 40% pre-leased. We expect it'll be fully leased before it delivers in the summer. So we'll be back to zero again, and then the next delivery is going to be 803. And then we've got a developer that's got site under contract in Carolina Pines, which is in Blythewood. They're going to deliver a spec building in Q1 of 2022, as is Scannell's going to develop a building behind the airport, and they'll deliver that also second quarter. So we'll be looking better in 22, but 21 is looking really tough right now. Good.
In terms of over the past 6 months, what sort of sectors and nations have expressed the most interest in these industrial properties?
I heard the past 6 months.
Which industrial sectors and maybe which nationalities have expressed the most interest in moving into these properties? Country.
Oh, the nationality. Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. We actually we had a client that didn't think we were doing enough marketing, and so we actually gave them a breakdown of how many people had downloaded their flyer from around the world. China is a big number on that. Canada is also a big number on that. We see a lot of Italian companies right now are looking. We're working with a British company, 2 Italian companies, a Swedish company, and that's all I can think of right now, but they're all prospects for buildings that we have currently. One more question. All right. Robert?
Chuck, would cost of living in the South be in the plus column, I guess, for these people? I'm still having a question in my mind about why would somebody want to come here as opposed to some bigger established market like Atlanta or Phoenix or Dallas or somewhere like that?
Great question. So, if you're in manufacturing, number one thing you look at before you look at anything else is labor. The ability to have skilled labor and how much it costs you. Right now, it's been more about do you have it than what it costs you, because it's gotten until COVID. I mean, we had the lowest unemployment rate in the history of the country. So we were really looking at Greenville had hit so many home runs, and Charleston had hit so many home runs. Columbia's like, we're the last guy standing. We're the only really decent industrial market that has a labor force that can handle another BMW or another Volvo or somebody like that. And so we're getting a lot of looks on the big industrial side, and also for the suppliers, because they don't want to compete. They don't want to be next to BMW and have to pay the same price for an engineer that BMW pays, right? And so they're trying to, get out there and be in a market that has a good labor market, but also has good access to their suppliers that they need to get to.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate that. Hopefully getting the word out to some of the folks here in this room and online, and we are broadcasting online. We'll get the word out too. We do have a little thank you and a memento. It's not the order of the Oprah, but we really appreciate you being here. I think you've got to go to the Irmo Chamber and present again to them to get that or something. All right, we thank you. Really appreciate that. Great presentation. Thank you, Cynthia, for helping with that. President-elect Catherine Davis, who do we have coming next week?
Next week, we'll hear from Dr. Bobby Donaldson from the University of South Carolina, who will talk about We Shall Not Be Moved, Edwards versus South Carolina. You've probably seen something in the news here recently, but it'll be very interesting. I encourage you to come.
Okay, Dr. Donaldson from the University of South Carolina. Okay, we'll be here next week. Okay, we're going to end with song and Rusty.